The game you think you're playing is money. But I promise, the game you're actually playing is brain chemistry. I want to know, how many born entrepreneurs do we have in the crowd? Don't be shy about it. How many born entrepreneurs do we have? Let's hear you. All right, there we go. So here's the bad news. I am not a born entrepreneur, and that is very important for you to know about me. I had what I'll call a slave's mentality. I kept my head down, I did as little work as possible, and I avoided punishment at all costs. That's where my life began. Thank you for laughing at my pain. It really was brutal. Growing up for me, I felt entirely lost. I felt entirely out of control. I had visions of what I wanted my life to become, but I had absolutely no idea how I was ever going to get there. And understanding that and really believing that's where I started, the rest of my journey becomes that much more interesting to you, because I have some fundamental beliefs. I believe that we're all trapped in the matrix. And the matrix are the limiting beliefs that you've pulled over your own eyes. They're all a bunch of lies. And so it's really learning how to get yourself out of that, to get rid of the limiting beliefs so that you can execute against your dreams. But it starts with belief. And humans lead with belief. Growing up, I knew two things about myself. I grew up in a morbidly obese household that teetered between blue collar and white collar. And I knew in my future two things would be true. One day I would have six-pack abs, and one day I would be rich. I had absolutely no idea how I was going to make those come true, but I knew that they were going to be two of the things that I was going to make come true in my life. Now, it's important to understand that Quest Nutrition is a company that rose from the ashes of misery. Each and every one of you, at some point in your life, you are going to hit rock bottom. The question isn't, will you hit rock bottom? The question is, what are you going to do with yourself when it happens? And for me, I was teaching film, and I met these two buff rich guys. And I thought, oh my God, six-pack abs and wealth. I've got to follow these guys. It's literally like I was meant to meet them. And they said, Tom, you're coming to the world with your hand out. And if you want to control your art, if you want to control your life, you've got to get rich. So hey, come on. We're starting this technology company. We need a copywriter. You'd be perfect for the job. So I went and I did it. And they said, but don't think of yourself as a copywriter. Understand, this is a startup. You can have any job in this company that you want. You just have to become the right person for the job. So I took them seriously, and I started working my ass off to get better, to focus on the things that I needed to do in order to get good, to grow, and be able to execute. And I got so good that by the time we sold that company, I was the chief marketing officer, and they'd given me 10% of the company just based on performance. So imagine giving somebody something that amounts to millions of dollars just based on how hard they've worked. That was the kind of blood, sweat, and tears that I put into it. But when I came into it, we all thought it was going to take us about 18 months to sell the company. 8.5 years later, in the depths of despair, I realized something had to change. And I went to my partners and I quit. And I said, guys, here's your equity back. I don't believe I should get anything. I don't plan to cross the finish line. I'm going to go do something that makes me feel alive. And let me tell you right now, I said that from the position of being in a place where I had ownership in a company worth millions of dollars. I was making more money than I'd ever made in my life. I was standing in a beautiful conference room overlooking the Pacific Ocean in the house of a company that we had built that was winning awards. And I was so fundamentally unhappy that I finally had the first of what would become a string of very profound and important realizations. And that is, the game you think you're playing is money. But I promise, the game you're actually playing is brain chemistry.